Day 1 of 30, Cybersecurity for Dummies. Today, I'm talking about the CIA Triad. The CIA Triad is a very, very well-known concept in the information security world. Probably the first thing you would learn when you start to learn cybersecurity in the first place. So, just a quick one, walk you through what it is and an application. So, the CIA Triad talks about confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. So, information security, one of the key principles, one of the key function of information security controls is to ensure data confidentiality. So you want to ensure data is only accessible to authorized users or authorized resource or authorized machines or whatever it might be within that environment. So ensuring information is not disclosed, especially to the wrong or to the unauthorized set of people, is the key goal of confidentiality. And secondly, integrity. The key point in integrity is ensuring that information is not altered. So you want to make sure your data is always true. So what it means is when you have a data stored somewhere, you want to ensure that that data is the accurate representation of what was put in there. So it hasn't been changed, it hasn't been altered, no one has access to it to maybe put a different data or change the information in there. And lastly, for availability, which is all about ensuring the timely access to data. When you need to have access to a data, you want to be able to access it at that time. A good example would be in a healthcare environment where a doctor needs to access its patient's medical record. So for a medical record, you want to ensure your patient's data is confidential enough that only your patient or authorized medical practitioners are able to access that data. You don't want a random person from the internet accessing your patient's data. So things you'd have to do to ensure confidentiality would include encrypting the data whilst in transit, or encrypting it whilst at rest, putting in a lot of access control mechanisms in place to ensure only authorized users are able to access that data. And secondly would be the integrity of data. You can imagine how fatal it could be when critical patient information are altered, right? So you want to ensure there are mechanisms in place to ensure alteration doesn't happen to the data. And lastly is all about availability. It's about ensuring that the information or the data would be accessible to that medical practitioner when they need to use it. If they need to talk to the patient or diagnose a patient, they need to be able to see their medical record. So availability would involve implementing controls that would ensure that that information would be accessible when needed. So a good example would be putting in, say, a firewall, for example, and preventing things like denial of service attack or distributed